I love writing a ton of banter in my books, and so in this video, I'm gonna explain to you what banter is, why I like it so much, what you need to do to create a relationship dynamic that will have good banter in your book, and give you examples for different types of banter to jog your imagination if you want to add banter into the book that you're writing. So first, what is banter? You are probably familiar with what banter is if you are on an internet book space such as Book Talk, because a lot of people will make videos talking about banter and rating books that have tons of banter and saying they're so here for the banter. Banter is highly entertaining dialogue, usually between two romantic interests, that showcases those characters' chemistry. This is the witty repartee between two characters where they are bouncing off of each other really fast, where it's really snappy, really dialogue heavy, and can be just addicting to read. In a lot of cases, banter is just characters being mean to each other, and this can work, but there are many more ways that you can write banter that are more nuanced and layered, because let's be honest, it's kind of weird for two people to just jump right into insulting each other immediately after meeting each other. Like, have you ever read a book where like a girl and a boy meet, and in that first meeting all of a sudden they're just throwing savage insults at each other, and you're like, why are these two people talking like that to each other? Because I would never talk like that to another person if I first met them, and there's like no grounds for them to be talking to each other that way. I love banter just because it's fun to read, and I know a lot of my readers also say that they're here for the banter and they love banter, and that's a reason that people like my new book, is because I have a lot of banter in there, and I've gotten feedback saying that they've really enjoyed the dialogue and the banter. It's one of my favorite things to write, and so I am really excited to be filming this video. Anyway, I have found there's one rule to writing banter. To write good banter, you need the characters to have opposing opinions, stances, or archetypes. If two characters agree with each other, there is no conflict. If there's no conflict, there is no tension between them, and you need tension to write banter. Take these two conversations, for example. In the first conversation, character A and character B are talking about bananas, and character A says, I really like bananas, and character B says, I also really like bananas, and character A says, aren't they really great? And character B says, yeah, I think they're fantastic, and I like to eat them in the morning before I go to work. Versus this conversation of character A saying, I really like bananas, and character B saying, I can't believe you would say such a thing. Bananas killed my father. And character A being like, that is such a weird thing to say. And character B sticking to the bit and digging in and being like, no, they really killed my father, deadpan. And character A can't figure out if they're like weirdly trying to flirt or be funny or not. There's a lot more going on in the second conversation than in the first conversation, because there's more conflict and there's more tension. So this means that the rule of writing banter is you have to take the two characters that are bantering with each other and put them on opposing ends of whatever topic they're discussing. If one of them loves bananas, the other one hates bananas. If one of them has a zest for life and loves life, the other one is the grumpiest person to ever have existed. If one of them is a rule follower, the other one breaks every single rule in existence and doesn't care that rules exist. By pitting them against each other like that, you're able to inject tension into whatever it is they're talking about, and tension also oftentimes creates chemistry. This is the reason you will find that in many romances, the two characters have opposite personalities. Just off the top of my head, you have the rule follower and the rule breaker in Hops and Wild from Zootopia. Judy Hopps is a police officer. She likes doing things by the book. She is very disciplined. She's a rule follower. And Wilde is literally a criminal. Lots of banter and tension there as they have to work together. You have an energetic person with a zest for life, and you have a jaded, cynical guy, like in Rapunzel and Flynn Rider from Tangled. She is bubbly, she is jumping around, she's optimistic, she's enthusiastic about life, and he is jaded and cynical, and his idea of a dream is to be alone sitting on a giant pile of money, whereas hers is like, she's like wants to go see the lights, and she always sees the best in people and he always sees the worst in people. That allows them to have a lot of tension and banter. Basically any enemies to lovers story has this already baked in, because if they're enemies, they'd have a lot of stuff to banter about because they obviously don't agree on stuff. You have like the goody two-shoes bookworm and the bad boy, like Rory Gilmore and Jess Mariano from Gilmore Girls. You get all those kind of scenes about him pushing her to break a rule. There's a lot of banter that can be tied up around that. So once you have this dynamic of these two characters that don't agree on stuff, you have a million different opportunities to write banter. If the tension is already baked into their character relationship, then it's a lot easier to just naturally get ideas about what you want them to banter. You also could have characters that don't fit into one of these archetypes. Like if you want to have some banter between your character and another side character, you can do that, but then you have to pick a subject matter that has this tension already baked in. So I put together a big list of different scenarios and ideas that I came up with that could be opportunities for good banter. So these are not big ideas like on an overarching character level, they're like on the scene level ideas, just giving you ideas for different things that your characters could banter about or ways that you can structure the scene just to get your idea wheels spinning and have you start kicking up some ideas of your own that would actually fit into your story. Number one, we have insulting each other. This is the basic, this is the classic. My caveat to including that on this list is just don't have it be the absolute first interaction that your characters have unless it's enemies to lovers and they already know each other. If they're just enemies meeting each other for the first time, just don't have them act completely manic and psychotic and come on really, really strong. You don't want them to act very out of character around each other. Have it either be like a long history of them not liking each other if they just start insulting each other right out of the gate, or put the insults a little later once they've already had their really bad first impression or whatever that turns them into being enemies. Two, one character really wants to work out or is trying to train the other character and the other character really doesn't want to. This allows you to have the one character that is kind of the drill sergeant and then the one character who's dragging their feet, insulting them, cursing because working out is so hard, and they can have a lot of banter and maybe almost flirting while that one character has to train the other. Three, rule follower and the rule breaker. Have two characters argue about whether or not they're going to follow certain rules. Like one character is like, oh, we can't park there, and the other character is like, yes, we can. Then you can have them start insulting each other about their rule following or rule breaking ways. You have one character that's arguing like, you can't just do this, and the other character says, oh, watch me. Four, competitive bragging. This is a fun one because you can have two characters that are trying to one-up each other. This is sometimes fun to read in like workplace rivalry romances where they're bantering because they're both trying to be better at their job or one-up the other person. Five, a fake serious debate about something absurd. Like they get really into a debate about a very stupid topic. This still puts them on opposing sides of the conversation, but the stakes are not as high because the topic is absurd, so this leads to more lighthearted banter, but you can still show their real feelings underneath that. Having one character tease the other character and that other character deflect it. Like, this works especially well if one of the characters is more jaded and a little bit more protected. Like, you get those interactions of like character A saying like, oh, you were worried about me, and character B being like, don't flatter yourself. 7, and I really personally love this one, is talking in code. This is when two characters know each other so well that they can essentially read each other's minds. This works really well in friends to lovers romance and just to establish deep friendship between characters when one of them, like, they're able to talk to each other and it doesn't make any sense what they're saying, but they're still able to communicate to each other, almost like they can read each other's minds. Like in this exchange, character A, left pocket. Character B, already checked it. Character A, then we're both in trouble. Character C, what are you two talking about? This is both fun to write and to read, and it's especially powerful as a tool in like a friends to lovers type situation to establish just how deep that friendship is and how well they know each other. And we have taking time versus cutting corners. I like it when you have two characters that are bantering about something where one of them wants to take the time required to accomplish that thing and the other one wants to just cut corners. This is similar to the rule follower and rule breaking dynamic, but it's kind of funny. Like, one of them wants to do it the right way and the other one is like, oh, that's just too much work, and they're able to bicker and banter like over that. Injecting humor into a life or death situation. I like it when you have this dynamic of a character who's more serious and a character who's a little bit more silly, and the silly character is trying to get the serious one to smile when they're in a life or death situation, that can be really absurd and really fun to read. Like maybe they're even hiding from the enemy and one of them is trying not to laugh or trying to get the other one to laugh. Obviously, anything Grumpy Sunshine, like if you have one grumpy character about anything and the Sunshine character is trying to be happy about that thing, it often leads to good banter. That's why Grumpy Sunshine is a romance trope. I like the deadpan versus drama queen one too, where someone is like really like deadpan and serious and one of the characters is just so dramatic about everything. That is a fun dynamic too, if like they're being dramatic about one thing and the grumpy one is like really, really exasperated about it. Next is when they feed into each other's nonsense and they match each other's energy and just keep building themselves up into kind of like this nonsense tizzy. Like in this conversation, character A says, "We're obviously the chosen ones." Character B says, "Well, of course we are." Character A says, "Should we get capes?" And character B says, "Of course capes are mandatory." It's not like one of them is like, "Should we get capes?" And the other one's like, "You're such an idiot." Like they just keep building on each other and that's fun. You have the logical character versus the totally unhinged character. This one's really fun too, especially if you have a scene where they have to develop a plan to do something, where one of them is trying to be really logical and the other one is like, "No thoughts, just vibes." And the last one on my list is when they're insulting each other, but they're actually just flirting, where like one of them is trying to get the other one to admit that they actually care about them. I really like that dynamic. That one's really funny. Those are just some ideas that I had off the top of my head. There are a ton of other possibilities, but I just wanted to throw those out there as just a couple of examples of the kinds of dynamics that you'd want to create in order to write good banter. And then what I would recommend doing is figuring out each character's rough stance on what they're going to be talking about, and then just start writing the dialogue and have it flow as naturally as you can. I would just feel the conversation and feel where it takes you, and then you can go back and edit it later. Make sure you keep the characters sounding like themselves. Don't try to shove lines into their character that don't actually sound like something that they would say. And what I like to do is chart what I want to have happen from the beginning to the end of that banter. I always like to have something change during my banter, so the feelings and emotions of my characters will change as they're talking to each other, and I like to figure out what that is and what I want that to be before I start to write, so I can have a direction as I'm writing the banter. But that's how I like to think about writing banter. I hope this video was helpful to you. If you have a second, I'd be super grateful if you could like this video and also subscribe to my channel. My name is Claire Fraze, and I'm an award-winning author who makes videos sharing actionable writing tips that helps me make my own writing better. I'm the author of the 5-book paranormal thriller They Stay series, along with a brand new series about ghost hunters who hunt the ghosts of dead serial killers, which will be coming out early next year, and I'm super excited about it. Can you think of any other banter dynamics that you really love to read about? If so, please comment them below, because I know a lot of members of our community love engaging in the comments and reading each other's comments to have their problems solved by other members of our writing community, so I really, really love to see it when everyone is engaged in the comments. Makes me super happy, and I would love to hear what dynamics you personally have found enjoyable to both read and also write. I hope you have a fantastic week, everybody, and as always, happy writing.